What if I told you that the most powerful thing you can do after rejection is nothing at all? Imagine this. Someone pushes you away, expects a reaction, but you don't give them one. Instead, you go completely silent. Suddenly, their world shifts. They start questioning themselves, their choices, and most importantly, why you didn't crumble under their rejection. Silence. It's not just golden, it's transformational, and it might just be the ultimate weapon you've been missing. By the time you finish watching this video, you'll have a roadmap to turn every rejection into an opportunity for growth and power. If you are ready to watch till the end, comment, "I'm ready" below if you're with me. Today, we're diving into a topic that everyone faces but few handle well. Rejection. You've been ghosted, ignored, dumped, maybe even betrayed. It happens to all of us. The question is, what do you do about it? Most people lash out, cry, beg, or try to prove their worth. But what if the answer was simpler? What if the answer was silence? In this video, I'm going to show you why your silence is the loudest response you can give after rejection. You'll learn how it flips the dynamic, makes them rethink their decisions, and more importantly, rebuilds your self-worth stronger than ever. But before we dive in, remember, your support makes this channel grow. Subscribe right now and hit that bell icon so YouTube recommends this video to more people who need it. If you're ready to learn how to turn rejection into your greatest weapon, let's get started. Number 1. The immediate shock of silence. Rejection is one of life's harshest teachers. It arrives uninvited, bruising your ego and challenging your sense of self-worth. But here's the truth most people overlook. Rejection is also a stage where all eyes are on you, waiting to see how you'll react. Imagine this scenario. Someone rejects you, perhaps over text or face-to-face, fully expecting you to crumble. They think you'll lash out, beg, or try to change their mind. That's the script they expect. But you do the unexpected. You break the script. You stay silent. Nothing. No texts, no posts, no confrontation. Just nothing. Can you feel the power in that? Silence isn't just a lack of response. It's a declaration of strength. It says, I don't need to play this game. I'm better than this. That immediate silence hits them harder than any word could. It's like slamming a door shut, but instead of noise, the echo of your absence reverberates in their mind. Suddenly, they're left standing there wondering, why didn't you react? This isn't what they were prepared for. They were ready for your tears, your anger, your pleas. What they weren't ready for is your composure. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you truly surprised someone? When was the last time you responded to rejection, not with chaos, but with calm? If you've never done this, you're missing out on one of the most transformative experiences in life. Silence isn't avoidance. It's strength. And here's where it gets interesting. The more silent you are, the louder your absence becomes. Imagine a phone buzzing with unread messages. Imagine someone checking their notifications, refreshing their feed, waiting for a sign of your reaction. And what do they get? Nothing. Because while they thought they were rejecting you, it turns out you're the one holding the power now. They wanted you to crumble, but instead, they're the ones left questioning their actions. Silence isn't just golden, it's revolutionary. Number 2. Why people fear silence. Let's dive deeper into the psychology behind this. Why is silence so powerful? Why does it haunt people, even those who claim to be indifferent? The answer lies in human nature. People crave closure. They need to know they're in control of the situation. Rejection is often a power play, a way for someone to feel like they're in charge. When you don't react, you shatter that illusion. Think about this. When someone rejects you, they're not just rejecting you, they're trying to elevate themselves. It's as if they're saying, I have the upper hand here. I get to decide how this ends. But silence denies them that satisfaction. It's the ultimate checkmate, and most people aren't equipped to handle that kind of uncertainty. Picture this. A person breaks up with you, expecting a flood of emotional texts. Maybe they're even hoping for a fight, so they can justify their decision. But instead, they're met with silence. That silence starts to gnaw at them. They begin to wonder, did I make the right choice? Why aren't they fighting for me? Are they better off without me? These questions are the seeds of doubt, and silence is the soil where they grow. Here's where it gets really interesting. Silence forces them to confront themselves. Without your reaction to distract them, they're left alone with their thoughts. And let me tell you, that's a scary place to be. People fear silence because it's a mirror. It reflects their insecurities, their mistakes, their doubts. And when they realize you're not chasing them, they start to question everything. Silence is a tool, but it's also a strategy. It's the pause in the conversation that makes the other person lean in, desperate to fill the void. And the best part, you don't have to do anything, just let the silence speak for itself. Number 3, the question they can't stop asking. Now, let's take it a step further. What happens when your silence doesn't just shock them, but consumes them? That's when the questions begin. And not just any questions, the kind that keep them up at night, replaying the situation over and over. What are they thinking? Why didn't they react? Are they seeing someone else? Have they already moved on? These questions aren't just idle thoughts. They're a storm of doubt and insecurity swirling in their mind. This is the beauty of silence. It doesn't just leave them wondering, it makes you unforgettable. When someone rejects you and you react emotionally, they can easily dismiss you. They'll think, just another person who couldn't handle rejection. But when you stay silent, you become a mystery, and mysteries are impossible to ignore. Here's a scenario. You're at a party and you meet two people. One is loud, constantly talking, trying to impress everyone. The other is quiet, reserved, but confident. Which one do you remember? Exactly. Silence has a magnetic quality. It draws people in. And in the context of rejection, it's downright irresistible. Think about the person who rejected you. They thought they were done with you. They thought their decision was final. But your silence leaves the door open, not for reconciliation, but for doubt. They start to second-guess themselves. They wonder if they underestimated you. And here's the kicker. They'll never admit it. But you'll see it in their actions. They'll start to check your social media. They'll ask mutual friends about you. They might even reach out, pretending it's for some trivial reason, all because your silence planted a seed they can't ignore. Let's pause for a moment. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever stayed silent and watched as the person who rejected you slowly unraveled? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of life's most satisfying moments. And no, it's not about revenge. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about showing them, and yourself, that you're not defined by their rejection. But here's the catch. Silence only works if you're consistent. You can't go silent for a few days and then break it with a cryptic text or a passive-aggressive social media post. True silence requires discipline. It's about letting go of the need to prove yourself to anyone but yourself. And when you master that, you'll find that the person who once rejected you is now the one chasing you. Because in the end, silence isn't just a response, it's a statement. And the louder their questions become, the quieter you remain. Number 4. Escaping the drama cycle. Drama is the language of the rejected. It's what people resort to when they feel powerless, hurt, or ignored. Most people, when faced with rejection, rush straight into the cycle of drama. They call friends, vent their anger, post cryptic stories on social media, or send long texts trying to explain their side of the story. But here's the hard truth. Every dramatic action you take after rejection does one thing. It validates their decision. It tells them they were right to reject you, right to walk away. You're feeding into the narrative they created, and worse, you're letting them win. But silence changes the game entirely. Imagine this. A couple breaks up and one party immediately starts posting photos online, fake smiles, drinks in hand, pretending to have moved on. What does that signal? Desperation. It tells the other person, look how much I'm trying to get your attention. And trust me, they see it. They know exactly what you're doing. Silence, on the other hand, sends a different message. Silence says, I don't need you to validate me. I don't need you to see how I'm doing because I'm fine without you. Here's why silence works so well. It removes you from the equation entirely. You're no longer a participant in their story. They can't use your reactions to justify their actions. They can't turn you into the antagonist in their narrative. Instead, they're left with their own thoughts, their own actions, and no one to blame but themselves. Think of silence as an escape hatch. When you stay silent, you're not just avoiding the drama, you're rising above it. You're taking the high road, and in doing so, you're showing the world and yourself that you're stronger than the situation. And here's the best part. While they're stuck replaying the breakup, caught in the same drama cycle they created, you're moving forward. You're focusing on yourself, your goals, your growth. And let me tell you, nothing confuses and frustrates someone more than seeing you thrive in the silence they tried to use against you. So let me ask you this. The next time you're faced with rejection, will you feed the drama cycle? Or will you break free from it? The choice is yours. But remember, silence isn't just a lack of noise. It's a declaration of peace, of independence, of self-worth. And in a world full of noise, peace is the ultimate power move. Number 5. The magnetic effect of mystery. Have you ever noticed how people are drawn to the unknown? It's why we can't put down a good book, why we binge-watch mystery shows, and why we're intrigued by people who don't reveal too much about themselves. Silence has the same effect. When you stay silent after rejection, you become a mystery, a puzzle they can't solve, a question they can't answer. And let me tell you, people hate unanswered questions. Think about this. In today's world, where everyone overshares online, silence is a rare and powerful thing. When you don't react, when you don't explain yourself, you stand out. You become the exception in a sea of predictable reactions, and that makes you unforgettable. Imagine the person who rejected you. They expected anger, they expected tears, they expected you to try to win them back, but instead they got silence. And now they can't stop thinking about you. They start checking your social media, hoping for clues. They ask mutual friends about you. They replay the rejection in their head, wondering if they made a mistake. This is the magnetic effect of mystery. Your silence becomes their obsession. But here's the thing. You have to commit to the silence. You can't break it with subtle attempts to get their attention. No cryptic posts, no accidental likes on their photos, no mutual friend check-ins. True silence is unwavering, and it's in that unwavering silence that the real power lies. Here's an example. Think about celebrities who go quiet during scandals. The ones who stay silent command more respect, more intrigue, and more attention than the ones who publicly lash out. The same principle applies to rejection. Silence makes you intriguing. It makes you magnetic. It makes them wonder what's going on in your mind, what you're doing, and why you're not reacting like everyone else. So let me ask you, the next time someone pushes you away, will you give them the reaction they expect? Or will you surprise them with silence? Remember, it's not just about being silent, it's about becoming unforgettable. And trust me, in the game of rejection, the one who stays silent is the one who wins. Number 6, turning pain into power. Rejection hurts. There's no sugarcoating that. It stings, it bruises your ego, and it can even make you question your self-worth. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, and the difference between pain and suffering lies in what you choose to do with it. Most people let rejection define them. They replay the moment over and over, analyzing every word, every gesture, trying to figure out what went wrong. They let the pain consume them. But you're not going to do that. You're going to take that pain and turn it into power. Here's how. The first step is to understand that rejection is a redirection. It's life's way of saying, this isn't for you, but something better is coming. When you embrace this mindset, rejection stops being a dead end and becomes a stepping stone. Now, take all that energy you would have wasted on drama and use it to improve yourself. Hit the gym, start a new project, learn a new skill. Focus on your growth. Not because you want to win them back, but because you want to become the best version of yourself for yourself. Here's an example. Imagine someone who gets rejected and decides to channel their pain into self-improvement. They start working out, eating healthier, and pursuing their passions. Months later, they've completely transformed themselves, and the person who rejected them. They see this transformation and realize what they lost. But by then, it's too late. This isn't about revenge, it's about reclaiming your power. Rejection doesn't define you. Your response to it does. So the next time someone says you're not good enough, don't try to prove them wrong with words. Prove them wrong with actions. Let your growth be the loudest response you give. Because here's the truth. Every rejection is an opportunity in disguise. It's an opportunity to grow, to improve, to become stronger. And when you look back on this moment, you'll realize that the pain wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something incredible. Number 7. The power of letting go. Letting go. Two simple words that hold the key to your freedom, your peace, and your ultimate power. Yet, for so many people, letting go feels impossible. Why? Because we tie our worth to the things we hold on to, even when those things no longer serve us. Rejection makes this painfully clear. You hold on to the idea of someone, of a relationship, or of closure because it feels safer than facing the unknown. But what if I told you that letting go isn't just the right thing to do? It's the most powerful thing you can do. Let me paint you a picture. Someone walks out of your life. Maybe they ghost you, reject you, or simply stop putting in the effort. Your first instinct is to cling, to text them, to call them, to remind them of your worth. But every time you do this, you're handing them your power on a silver platter. You're saying, I need you to validate me. I need you to see my value. And that's exactly what keeps you stuck. Letting go flips the script. It's not about giving up. It's about moving on. It's about understanding that some people, some relationships, are meant to be lessons, not lifelines. When you let go, you're telling the world and yourself that your worth isn't tied to someone else's opinion of you. Here's the beauty of letting go. It creates space. Space for growth, for new opportunities, for better things to come. Imagine a clenched fist, holding onto something so tightly that it can't grab onto anything else. That's what it's like when you cling to rejection. But the moment you open your hand, when you let go, you free yourself to receive something better. Letting go is also a statement. It says, I'm not chasing you. I'm not begging for your attention. I'm choosing myself. And here's the kicker. When you let go, you become more attractive, not just to the person who rejected you, but to the world. There's something magnetic about someone who values themselves enough to walk away from what no longer serves them. Think about this. The next time someone rejects you, instead of chasing after them, let them go. Focus on yourself, your goals, your happiness. I promise you, the moment you stop holding on to them is the moment they start wondering what they lost. And here's the truth. You didn't lose them. They lost you. Letting go isn't weakness. It's strength. It's the ultimate act of self-respect. And when you master the art of letting go, you'll realize that rejection isn't an ending. It's a beginning. So ask yourself this. What are you holding on to that's holding you back? What would your life look like if you let it go? The answer might just surprise you. Number 8. The Stoic mindset in relationships, Stoicism. It's a philosophy that has stood the test of time, teaching us how to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. And when it comes to relationships, Stoicism is a game changer. At its core, Stoicism is about focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. It's about mastering your emotions rather than letting your emotions master you. And isn't that exactly what rejection challenges us to do? Let's be honest. Rejection hurts because it feels personal. Someone decides they don't want you, and it's hard not to take that as a reflection of your worth. But Stoicism reminds us of a powerful truth. Their decision says more about them than it does about you. You can't control how someone feels about you. You can't control their actions, their choices, or their feelings. But you can control how you respond, and that's where your power lies. Imagine this. Someone ends things with you, and instead of reacting emotionally, you take a step back. You breathe. You remind yourself that their rejection is not a measure of your value. You choose not to argue, not to beg, not to seek closure. Instead, you respond with quiet strength and dignity. That's Stoicism in action. Stoicism teaches us to see rejection not as a loss, but as a lesson. What can you learn from this experience? How can you grow? Maybe it's teaching you to set better boundaries. Maybe it's showing you what you truly deserve. Or maybe it's simply reminding you that you are strong enough to handle anything life throws at you. Here's a practical example. Let's say someone ghosts you. They stop responding to your texts, leaving you in limbo. Most people would spiral, checking their phone every 5 minutes, overanalyzing every conversation, wondering what went wrong. But a Stoic mindset approaches this differently. Instead of obsessing over their actions, you focus on your own. You ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? The answer, your response. You can choose to move on, to focus on your own life, to let go of the need for their validation. Stoicism also teaches us the power of detachment. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You let go of the idea that you need someone else to complete you. You recognize that your happiness, your peace, your worth comes from within. And when you truly embrace this mindset, rejection loses its sting. Think about the strongest, most resilient people you know. Chances are they've mastered the art of Stoic detachment. They don't chase after people who don't want them. They don't let rejection define them. Instead, they focus on their own journey, their own growth. And in doing so, they attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right energy into their lives. So how can you apply Stoicism to your relationships? Start by focusing on what you can control. Let go of the need to fix, to chase, to convince. Embrace the idea that rejection is redirection. And remember, you are not defined by how someone else sees you. You are defined by how you see yourself. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's a way of life. And when you apply it to your relationships, you'll find that rejection doesn't break you. It builds you. It makes you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. So the next time someone walks away, don't see it as a loss. See it as an opportunity to practice Stoic detachment. Because in the end, the only person you truly need is yourself. Number 9. When silence becomes their obsession. Silence. At first it feels passive, like you're doing nothing. But in reality, it's one of the most active choices you can make after rejection. The absence of your voice, your presence, your attention, it creates a void. And here's the thing about voids. People hate them. The person who rejected you thought their decision would close the chapter, but instead, your silence leaves the book open. And now they're stuck reading the same page, over and over. Think about this. Someone ends a relationship with you. They expect tears, drama, and emotional fallout. They expect you to fight for them, to send just one more text, or to show up at their door demanding answers. But you don't. Instead, you disappear. You become a ghost, not because you're weak, but because you've chosen silence as your weapon. And that silence becomes the loudest thing in their world. Why? Because silence forces them to sit with their decision. It leaves them alone with their thoughts, their doubts, their insecurities. They start to wonder, did I make the right choice? Were they better than I gave them credit for? Are they happier without me? And the more they think about you, the more obsessed they become with finding the answers. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their own uncertainty back at them. Here's an example. Imagine someone breaking up with you because they think the grass is greener elsewhere. Maybe they've got someone else lined up, or maybe they just want to explore their options. At first, they feel confident in their choice, but then days turn into weeks, and they notice something strange. You're not chasing them. You're not trying to win them back. In fact, you're not even acknowledging their existence. That's when the doubt starts to creep in. They thought they were the prize, but now they're wondering if they misjudged you. Silence also has a funny way of making people fill in the blanks. When you're not there to explain yourself, they start to create their own narratives. And more often than not, those narratives are flattering to you. Maybe they're seeing someone else. Maybe they've moved on already. Maybe they didn't need me as much as I thought they did. These thoughts don't just haunt them. They consume them. Here's the secret. Silence isn't about punishing them. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about showing them, and yourself, that you don't need their validation to move forward. And the beauty of it, the less you say, the more they think about you. The less you do, the more they notice your absence. Silence isn't just a response, it's an experience. And for the person who rejected you, it's an experience they can't escape. So let me ask you this. Are you willing to let your silence speak for you? Are you ready to let them sit with the weight of their decision? Because when you master the art of silence, you're not just taking back your power, you're making them question everything. Number 10. Mastering resilience through silence. Resilience. It's a word we hear often, but what does it really mean? At its core, resilience is the ability to bounce back, to recover, to thrive in the face of adversity. And when it comes to rejection, resilience is your greatest ally. Resilience doesn't come from reacting. It doesn't come from arguing, pleading, or trying to change someone's mind. Resilience comes from silence. Silence is more than just a lack of noise. It's a deliberate act of strength. It says, I'm not defined by your decision. I'm defined by how I choose to respond. And when you choose silence, you're choosing resilience. You're choosing to focus on your growth, your peace, your happiness. Think about this. When someone rejects you, they expect to see you falter. They expect you to fall apart, to lose your sense of self. But when you stay silent, you're sending a different message. You're saying, I'm stronger than this. I'm stronger than you think. And that message isn't just for them, it's for you. Resilience through silence isn't about ignoring your feelings. It's about acknowledging them, processing them, and then using them as fuel for your growth. It's about taking the pain of rejection and turning it into power. Here's how you do it. First, embrace the silence. Use it as a time for self-reflection. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I grow from it? Maybe the rejection was a wake-up call, showing you areas where you can improve. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise, freeing you from a situation that wasn't right for you. Whatever the case, silence gives you the space to find the answers. Next, focus on your goals. Use the energy you would have spent chasing someone who rejected you to invest in yourself. Hit the gym, start a new project, learn a new skill. Every step you take toward self-improvement is a step toward resilience. Finally, remember this. Resilience isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself, even on the hard days. It's about choosing silence not as a way to avoid the pain, but as a way to transcend it. Because when you choose silence, you're not just surviving rejection, you're thriving despite it. For example, think about someone who was rejected in a relationship. Instead of spiraling, they used that rejection as motivation to transform their life. They focused on their fitness, their career, their passions. Months later, they're a completely different person, stronger, happier, more confident. And the person who rejected them? They're left wondering how they let someone so incredible slip away. That's the power of resilience. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about showing yourself that you are enough, that you are worthy, that you are capable of greatness. Next time someone rejects you, choose silence, choose resilience. Choose to focus on the one person who truly matters, you. Because in the end, rejection isn't a reflection of your worth. It's an opportunity to discover just how strong you really are. Silence is more than the absence of words. It's a declaration of strength, of self-worth, and of emotional independence. When someone rejects you, don't beg for their attention. Don't fight for their approval. Instead, choose silence. Let your absence speak louder than your words ever could. If you've made it this far, I know you're ready to take control of your life. Comment "silent strength" below if you're committed to turning rejection into resilience. And don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps this channel grow, and together we can make these powerful lessons accessible to everyone.